Welcome to Oilers TV Playoffs presented by Sport Check. Game 5 tonight as we bring in NHL on Rogers analyst Louie DeBrusk. Louie, always good to chat with you. Welcome to the program.
Tom, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, excellent. We were in San Jose the other night. It was a shellacking, to say the least, on the part of the Oilers from the Sharks. Tonight, what do you expect from Edmonton going into Game 5? Because that was the worst defeat in Oilers history in terms of margin of victory.
I expect a real pushback, and I think if you look over the course of this year, Tom, from the Oilers' perspective, they've only had a couple of games where they felt that they really got outmanned the way they did against San Jose in Game 4. So if you look at that, when they came back after into the next game, they always had a bounce-back game, and that's been one of the greatest attributes of this young team, I think, this year, is the fact they can kind of shrug off those bad losses, get back to the drawing board, and get back to doing what they do best, and that's, managing the puck a little bit better and being a physical team to play against. I think they got away from that in Game 5 early on, and they never were really able to get back on track, and it showed in the scoreboard.
Did anyone see that result coming?
You know what? It's funny because we kind of talked a little bit about the fact that there might have been a team that really took off out of the gates. And San Jose, as everybody knows, has been an amazing starting team all year long and throughout their history. And especially this year, they've been a great front-running team. But I don't think anybody saw a 7-0 game. I think, a 3-4-0 game or a 4-1 game. But with how tight this series has been, that was certainly a shellacking. That was certainly a statement by San Jose. And it was the big players for San Jose that got it done. And Edmonton's going to have to respond.
Louie, in your experiences as a player, when a game like that happens and you're on the receiving end, how does a team go about trying to come back the next game strong, especially in the postseason?
The greatest thing about the playoffs is the fact that it is a series. And you heard the statements after the game from the Oilers and, Connor McDavid, it's 2-2. And he's right. You know what? He's exactly right. That's the way you have to approach the game, is the fact that every game is a separate entity and it's just another game in the series. You have to win 4 to win the series, and right now it's 2-2. They have home ice advantage in the best of 3. Those are the positive things that are coming out of the dressing room in Edmonton, and you really do have to try and have a short-term memory about a loss like that. You have to scrap it. You have to get back to the drawing board, and you have to do the things that you've done well this year. I have no doubt that they're going to come out and be a much better team in game number 5 because they have to be.
And they have to also be much better in the discipline department. The Sharks made them pay, going 4 for 8 the other night in San Jose. The Oilers, 22 penalties thus far through 4 games. What's going on with them? Because that's not the team that they were during the regular season.
I think you have to give a little bit of the credit to San Jose. I think they're a team that, the way they play, because they're so aggressive on the puck and they pressure you so hard that, you're prone to taking those stick infractions. But at the same time, after taking 12 through games 1 and 2 in Edmonton, they dialed it in with only 2 penalties taken in game number 3 in San Jose, but then they come out and take 8 in game number 4. Now, albeit some of those penalties were taken after the fact. That game was already pretty much done, and there's a little bit of undisciplined play that goes there. But for me, the concern was the early penalties when the game was still in the balance, when it was only a 2-0 lead where you could still potentially get back into it. So it's been a theme throughout the whole series. They have to be more disciplined, and they keep saying the right things, but now it's time to go out there on the ice and do it. And I do believe that they finally learned their lesson with that 7-0 defeat.
All right, Lou, let's head to the Oilers locker room, hear what they have to say.
It's a stupid play. That's not who I am. That's not me. It's not how I want to be seen as a player. And I think everyone knows that I'm the last guy that wants to hurt anyone out there or that wants to play that type of games. I have to be better. I have to make sure that I'm a force out there, and I have to get back to playing my game. And tonight is a good start for that.
We talked about it after game 1, shift length and penalty minutes, and we haven't still caught on to the message of the penalties. I mean, obviously that group over there, power play, has been together for 7-8 years. So I mean, eventually they were going to get hot, and they just got hot all together.
I can review that whole game, but I'm wasting my time. When we're playing well, we play quite evenly with them in those areas. So 7-0, take you through the whole game if you want, but you don't want to stay here that long.
So there you have it, the Oilers saying the right things, as Louie mentioned before. Now it's a point of putting it into action. Leon Draisaitl, we have to hit on this. The discipline thing we've talked about, the spearing penalty he took on Chris Tierney. What do you make of that, Lou?
As he said, it uncharacteristic of Leon Draisaitl, although he does play with that edge and he has been physical in this series. But again, I think it goes back to the frustration that San Jose is bringing out in the young Oilers team because of the lack of offense. But for Leon, as he said, get back to doing what he does best and be more assertive on the scoreboard instead of physically.
Okay, so we have to take a look at the lineups as well because Todd McLellan tweaking some things up front. Drake Caggiula finds himself on the left wing on the top line with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Patrick Maroon on the proverbial third line alongside Mark Letestu and Zach Kassian. What do you make of these moves, Lou?
Well, we've seen it before, and you know what? There's no doubt that I think they tried the experiment of putting Leon back at center and seeing how that would work, but he's better on that right side right now with Connor McDavid. That tandem was the highest scoring tandem in the National Hockey League for a reason. They have chemistry. Drake Caggiula, interestingly, going up to the top line, it does a couple of things. There's definitely more speed there with Caggiula than Maroon, and he thinks the game a little bit differently. He's more of a cerebral player that knows how to jump into the right spots at the right time. He's shown already that playing with those two players, you can read them, you can play with them. They're trying to manufacture some offense here. They're trying to spark something. Listen, the San Jose Sharks did it. They shuffled all 4 lines for Game 4, and it paid off with 11 points from their top 5 players. The Oilers are looking for the same response.
Todd McLellan saying Drake Caggiula, high hockey IQ and tenacious. Let's hear from number 36 in orange and blue.
I know I've been fortunate to play with Connor a few times this season, play with him a little bit on the penalty kill, so I think we built a little bit of chemistry there, and I'm not going to change my game, just got to make sure I still do my thing, and that's what they want me to do. They want me to play my game, play with that intensity and speed, and hopefully it works out for us.
So there you have it. Drake Caggiula finds himself in the spotlight on the left side of the top line. Caggiula, of course, had 7 goals, 11 assists this season. Played a little bit with McDavid during the season. Lou, some final thoughts?
I like the move. You know what? Listen, right now they're trying to, number one, keep San Jose guessing a little bit as well, but also trying to get some confidence built back up in the lineup calling themselves. So I don't mind the move from Todd McLellan. You have to try something, and I expect a much better pushback here from Edmonton. This is the first time their backs have kind of been up against the wall a little bit after a real tough loss in the playoffs. We'll see how they respond.
Connor McDavid, pointless in 2 games, has never throughout his career been held pointless in 3 straight. That does it for part 1 of Oilers TV Playoffs presented by Sport Check. Lou and I will discuss the Sharks in part 2.